Guys, welcome back to Between the Ropes TV. Tonight, we are going to be looking at the Danny Jacobs and John Ryder card. But first, we've got a very quick announcement. Those of you who are regulars will be thinking, where's Ben gone? Sadly, Ben has left the channel. He's got a few bits going on. But not to worry, we've got a new man in. Ray, we're pleased to have you on board full time. Look at that smile. What more could the viewers want?
Yeah, definitely. Great to have you on board, Ray.
Thanks very much, Val.
So we'll dive straight in. Danny Jacobs and John Ryder. I'm really intrigued by this fight. Ray, break it down for us.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific fight. I think it's a real crossroads fight. It's a great fight up at super middleweight. If you look at Danny Jacobs, I still think he's got a lot left. He's been in with, he's only really lost to Golovkin. He's lost to Canelo Alvarez, and he got stopped way back by Dimitri Pirog in the 5th round. But I put down as a bit of a fluke. He's been being in with a massive puncher in Golovkin, big puncher in Alvarez, and he finished the distance. He's been in with Chavez Jr. He's been in with Mora. He's been in with Peter Quillin. He's been in with, you name it, at middleweight. He has been former WBA boss. I think he if he turns up, he's in the right mind frame. He does a good job on John Ryder. I thought John Ryder's been unlucky. He was unlucky against Callum Smith. In my opinion, he won that fight. His best performance for me was against Jamie Cox when he sparked him. That was a great knockout. But his best weight for me is super middleweight. His best performances have come at this weight. At middleweight, he was a bit hit and miss. Light heavyweight, he's just a 5'9", he's just not big enough. And this could be his last roll of the dice, really. So he could come swinging. But
I think the fact that it's obviously two very experienced fighters makes it a great main card. It's going to be interesting, of course. Daniel Jacobs probably he does have the better knockout potential. You'd probably say that's fair to argue. Josh, how do you see this one going? Because obviously Ray's called it early. He says Daniel Jacobs. I'm probably going to back that. Are you going to go against us, or is this unanimous?
No, well, I'm going to get it in. I am 1-0 up with me and Ray on predictions. I did get Thurman Barrios right, so I'm going to enjoy it while I'm winning. And I'm actually going to disagree with John Ryder. I just think, Danny Jacobs, he has been in with some really good quality fighters, as Ray said. But, the Chavez fight was just bizarre in sort of how it ended. And I just think with John Ryder, both have been inactive, which is a common theme, as we know, for most boxers through the pandemic. But I just think John Ryder, he's 33. And in fairness, Danny Jacobs is 35. But I just think it's a crossroads fight for both. And I just think it's winner moves on to bigger things. And I just think John Ryder, the bits of media I've seen him do so far, and we'll see more this week, he looks up for this fight. And I just think, he was robbed in the Callum Smith fight. As much as I'm a fan of Callum Smith, as Ray rightly pointed out, he was robbed. It was a definite hometown decision. And I just think he's going to have the bit between his teeth and really go for it.
And I think you picked on something big there. I think whoever wins this fight, why it's so big, is because the winner goes on to bigger, better things. The other one, they're probably not going to get another big opportunity. I think it would be fair to say, of this nature. So I definitely think that's what, it makes it such an exciting main event, to be fair. Obviously, moving on the card, we've got Ellie Scotney back in action. Josh, the first question I wanted to go with this one, it looks like Matchroom have put it like the fourth fight, 4 fights of another down the card. Are you surprised that it's that far down the card, or is it fair?
I'm not surprised. No, because we'll get on to the other fighters, but the top 4 fights on this card are all big on their own merits. But in fairness to Ellie Scotney, we spoke very highly of her on this channel. Yeah. We sort of touting her as possibly the future of women's boxing. She's still only 23. She's 3-0. This is her first title fight for the WBA Intercontinental Super Bantamweight. Going up against, hopefully I've got it right, Georgina Guarnini, if I've got it right.
I purposely left her opponent's name to let you.
I wasn't going to pronounce that one.
I'm going to pronounce it.
I've had a go. We'll probably get abuse in the comments, but there we go. But she's much more experienced in the pro game. 9 wins, 3 losses. But I'm backing Scotney to win. I just think she's such a talented fighter. And I just think it's the right step at the right time. You know, her 3 wins have come against some experienced people. I'm backing Scotney to win this one.
Yeah, as you said, Josh, obviously her opponent is a much more experienced fighter. But Ray, have you been impressed with so far with what you've seen from Ellie Scotney?
Yeah. I think this will give her more time with Shane McGuigan. So she's always started training with Shane McGuigan in September, and she had her last outing in October. So I mean, it's only like 4 or 5 weeks. It's not really enough time. So hopefully by now she'll have made all the adjustments that Shane can make with her in the gym. I think Shane's really suited to her style, if that makes sense. She appears to be a McGuigan style fighter. I thought, to be fair, she would have got that from Adam Booth, but I think the way Adam Booth works is he spends more times with the male fighters. He's quite a busy guy, but I believe she's quite talented. She's really skilled. I was impressed with her debut. When she fought Beck Conley, who's really experienced, and she handled her well. I think she dropped her as well on route to winning on points. So I think she'll do really, really well. She's in a tough division. She's got people like Stevie Levy in that division as well. Ramla Ali. So she's a really, really tough division. So this is a good fight for her.
Yeah, for sure. And this is, I think, Josh, you alluded to the fact this is such a stacked card, and another fight that it's going to be another great fight. 2 undefeated fighters. Felix Cash coming up against Madiv. That looks like it could be a really good fight, doesn't it? I mean, you'd probably argue Cash has more knockout potential, but it is 2 undefeated fighters.
No, I'm a massive fan of Felix Cash. You know, he sort of at Fight Camp 1, he beat Jason Wellborn, and I felt like that was almost like a breakout moment for him. And then obviously he went over to the Frank Warren show, didn't he, and beat Denzel Bentley, destroyed Denzel Bentley for the British and Commonwealth middleweight titles. Since then, I think he's been a little bit unlucky with, he didn't quite get another fight in for a host of reasons last year, obviously. So he's been out since April. So this is a good fight. Madiev coming in at 15-0. But I just think Felix Cash's quality is just going to shine through.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think he could be fighting for a world title or, certainly on the fringes of that by the end of this year, starting next year. And I just think this is step one on that road. I think he's a brilliant fighter. And I think he's going to really show us what he can do and elevate himself on Saturday night.
Yeah, as you said, Josh, he hasn't had a fight since April. Ray, do you feel this is probably, do you kind of agree with Josh that this is probably just a fight to set him up, get him going on to bigger things the rest of the year? Or could we have a shot? Because we've already had a couple, haven't we, in the very early stages, 2022?
We did, and we had some last year as well, and hopefully that doesn't continue. I would be a bit more worried if this guy was Mexican, to be honest. But look, I mean, Felix Cash is absolutely quality, as Josh rightly said. This guy that he's fighting in is durable. He's been the distance a few times. He's had 2 draws, but he's nowhere near as good as Jack Cullen was. He's nowhere near as good as what Denzel Bentley was, and we've seen what he did to those two. For me, Felix Cash is a couple of levels above this. This is just to keep him busy, take him over, get him in net rankings. I think with the WBC for WBC International, if I remember rightly. So this puts him up there, and then it's going to be hard for him because he's not going to fight the British boys, is he? Like Sam Egerton, Fowler, they're not going to want to fight him. But he could look towards Jason Quigley. That'd be a big fight. Yeah. Those are the type of fights that he needs to be getting in there. But I really believe in him. I think looking at the fight at the weekend, he probably beats Eubank and Williams, in my opinion. Now, I believe in him that highly.
That's a big call.
I was just about to say that's bold, but in fairness, I mean, I think this afternoon, Liam Williams obviously gone and signed with Pro Bellum. And I think that'd be a great fight to be made if it could be made. Williams versus Felix Cash. I was going to, for me, that could and possibly should be next when you look at British rankings.
No, for sure. And obviously the last fight that we've got to speak about on this card, it is a big card. It's a man that's already been getting spoke about a lot, I should say. Obviously, Johnny Fisher back in action once again. 4 wins, 4 of them coming by KO. He's a big name, isn't he, already on the card? He's a big character. I think that's why everyone warms to him. Is this just another one to kind of big up his profile a bit? Because let's be honest, his opponent isn't the most decorative opponent, is he, Ray?
No, he's not. I think he's the number 1 ranked heavyweight in Spain. But I think there's only 3, so it doesn't say a lot. But look, I think it's more rounds for Johnny Fisher. I don't think he's been past 3 rounds. This, for me, 4-0, 4 stoppages. He needs to build experience. I think what he's got to have one eye on is that the fact that he's turning pro alongside the likes of Solomon Dakers, Fraser Clark. There's a boy from your neck of the woods, Hosier Stewart. He's turned pro as well. So he's around some good kids. So he needs that experience. He needs that rounds. And this will give him that. Hopefully.
How far do you think he can go?
Oh, good question. He has got raw power, which I like.
Be careful here, Ray.
Sorry?
I said be careful here, mate.
Yeah, because you're a big fan. He has got raw power, which I like. But there's question marks, and they haven't, and he's only 4-0. He hasn't answered any of those questions yet, and rightly so, because he is only 4-0. So we'll have to see. Time will tell. So, but if he gets to British Commonwealth level, he's done well, in my opinion.
I mean, Josh, I feel like there's no point asking the question to you if he's going to win, but I'll just let you have a minute telling everyone how excited you are about him in action and how far he can go.
Don't limit me to a minute, because I could talk for hours. I am a massive fan of the Romford Bull. It's got to be said, he's trained by Mark Tibbs, so I agree. In being serious, I do agree with, like Ray said, there's a lot of questions to answer, and this is a slight step up on Torero, which obviously we saw at the end of October. I think he was ranked 2 in Spain. So if he wins on Saturday, he's conquered Spain, hasn't he, in fairness to him? But it's so hard, He only had a couple of amateur fights. So I think, he's got to be built slowly, and we can't get too lost in the hype around him. He sold 1,800 tickets out of his hand in a 7,000-seat arena, at Ali Pali. So, the man's a draw, and I just hope, I don't think he will, because he's doing it the right way with Conor Benn, but I just hope Eddie Hearn doesn't get a bit too excited with him and start thinking, right, let's elevate him and, make him fall short. They've got to be patient with him. But so far, it's similar. I'm not saying he'll go to the same heights as Anthony Joshua, but for me, it's similar to Anthony Joshua early on. What we've seen so far, we can't really criticise because he's done everything well. And I think he definitely falls into that category. Time will tell if he can keep that going. But I'm excited for the journey. And, him and his dad across social media, I'm just a massive fan of the pair of them. I think they're absolutely quality. So 5-0 and 5 stoppages for the Romford Bull on Saturday.
I mean, let's hope he doesn't take the same path as Anthony Joshua. Obviously, I was going to throw an insult. Josh already knows it's coming.
Ruined it.
Unfortunately, he'll get to the top and then not live up to the heights that everyone expects of him. But
I'm done.
But no, obviously, this is a great card, isn't it, Josh? I think it's going to be one to look forward to. And any other thoughts, guys?
No, go on, Ray.
I was just going to say, there's lots of fights that you can look forward to in this card. But there's a couple of prospects to look forward to as well. Interested to see how Cyrus Patterson gets on. And I hope Price, he's been in red hot form, and hopefully he can continue that.
No, definitely. I mean, Scott's, totally washed over Hopey Price there. But again, I'm a massive fan of Hopey Price.
Yeah, he's really improved.
Big fan of what he's doing with Dave Caldwell. And I'm excited to see both of them and Austin Williams, in fairness. Excited to see him in the ring on Saturday night.
Yeah. No, for sure. And as always, guys, please make sure, I need to start saying this at the start, but please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video, which will probably be in a couple of days' time, won't it?
Cheers, guys.